Hi guys, Harrison1 back at once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to episode... I've lost track now, actually, shit.
Brilliant start to the video.
Episode 7 of our MotoGP 15 Career Mode Let's Play. And on the last episode, we went to the Czech Republic and Silverstone. We had okay results, further than a fifth. It's not too bad, and apparently they're now expecting podiums out of us. They've jacked up the objectives for this year's game, haven't they? Third place is now a minimum expectation. Jesus Christ. Okay, so to compensate for that, I'm going to knock the difficulty back down to hard because I want as many credits as possible for future tiers, because in case you guys didn't know, when I get to Moto 2, I just found this out myself today. The chassis, there you get given the tech-free one for free, but you get Suter, Speed Up, and Kalex available, and they're expensive, to say the least. Up to 600,000 you're looking at there. So, yeah, I'm sure you get more for Moto 2. That just makes sense that way in terms of an advertising standpoint, but it's not exactly ideal. But also, I have a guest with me in this video. Say hello, old pal.
I'm not your pal. You dragged me into this. This is not voluntary.
Shut up. Yes, my brother is here again for another video. I said talking to the microphone. That's what it's there for.
I'm gonna grab it.
It's my show. You sound like James Toney.
My show.
But he's here. He's going to answer some questions and generally probably just try to wind me up for the next half hour. But
Isn't that not the role of a brother in the first place?
That doesn't mean it's okay.
It's the perfect reason why I exist.
Know your role, and it's not the role you're thinking of, and shut your mouth. Right. So, in the meantime, let's get this 25% race at Misano taken care of while we answer some questions from you guys from the last episode. Well, there's some real good ones in this one as well, actually. So
That hurt my feelings.
I know you're soft, but, you know, that's not my problem. No, really. Okay, so, question from JYY. Question for next video. Do you think MotoGP and World Superbikes will ever merge together fully, just like how Grand Am and the ALMS became the Tudor United Sports Car Championship? I have to think about this one. My initial thought was straight up no, but given how unpopular World Superbikes is these days, I wouldn't completely rule it out.
I just don't think it's going to be a case. Why separate? I mean, why merge them together when you're still making money from two different revenue streams?
Honestly, I don't think World Superbikes is making much money. I really don't. Their attendance is so bad at their races.
But it's still extra money.
Donington had like 15,000 for the race.
I just don't think combining two series together will make extra money for MotoGP itself.
They think that much. Think of the operating costs, though. That's something you've got to think about. But things, Donington, the home of British bike racing, 15,000 for the race. That's dreadful. 30,000 for the whole weekend.
I think there's a greater potential of some teams maybe moving over to MotoGP. Maybe some privateers might move over, but other than that, I don't see the two sports merging.
I wouldn't completely. I still say it's unlikely because it would take a lot of logistics to make it happen, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. Maybe one day. Again, so I don't imagine how World Superbikes is profitable right now. I really don't. Because, you know, there's no star power in WSB anymore. Like, Jonathan Rea is having an all-time great season, and even he is struggling right now. So, and even he's not getting the mainstream attention he probably deserves for, you know, having one of the great biking seasons of our time.
Well, it's always going to be known as the Honda reject.
Oh, you know what? As harsh as that sounds, that's probably true, given that. And, you know, it's a shame, because Jonathan Rea did fill in for Casey, and he did a solid job out there filling in for Casey. So, you know, it's a shame that. Let's get started. Miles Pardo asks, can you see anybody winning the title in the next 5 years or so, apart from the big three? I'm guessing the big three he's referring to is Marquez, Lorenzo, Rossi. Anyone outside of that tier, you reckon, possibly? I'm struggling, to be honest.
Only if they replace Amber with someone that's absolutely amazing. I doubt that's going to happen in the next 5 years.
I don't see anyone with the potential to beat Marquez.
I don't at all.
Because that's the kicker in all this. Because Marquez is still only 22 years old.
It's just a case of that
he will enter his prime by the end of that 5 year stretch. Because look at Lorenzo now. Oh god, that's the bike. But I don't see anyone, because Lorenzo's 22. So Marquez is 22. Lorenzo is 28 right now. Just turned 28 a couple of months ago. Like, I don't see anyone with that kind of potential. Like, Lorenzo is a beast. When the bike is working well, he's very, very hard to beat over a season. Period. Marquez is arguably the greatest young talent this sport's ever had. So, can you see anybody beating them and Valentino, who's still game at 36? I mean, I can't. I say the guy with the most potential of doing that.
Stoner comes back.
Stoner comeback.
Stoner comeback, man.
A guy can dream, right? A guy can dream. Come.
He's so greedy. How dare he think of his own needs?
How dare he retire on the back of a sport he didn't want to race in anymore?
How dare he?
Maybe, and this is a long shot, maybe Maverick, but even then...
No.
Like, I don't think Maverick is the great prospect so many people want him to be.
I think he's overrated, honestly.
A little bit.
I think he's overrated. I think that Suzuki team isn't going to be at the top in 5 years' time.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see, but good question though, Miles. And like I said, I think Maverick's got the best chance of upsetting the apple cart. Maybe Paul Espargaro, if he really does still fill in for Valentino down the road, but...
If I had to pick somebody to upset the apple cart, my money's on Iwata.
Not a bad shout. Iwata is good. Iwata is very good. And
if Ducati can get their stuff together, which is looking more and more likely by the race, in 5 years' time, Iwata, the only guy that can take Marquez race to race.
Because Iwata is not afraid to get his hands dirty. Let's put it that way.
But yeah, you heard it first.
You heard it first, Andrea Iwata, who's a decent guy. Mind unlocking my phone for me, Ross, so you can just scroll down a bit till you find the next question. Maybe you can read it out. Actually, that's actually probably quite a good idea. Actually, that'd be quite helpful. I would do it myself, but I'm kind of busy right now.
Do you think MotoGP... No, that's the wrong one. So what am I looking for? Wait.
Scroll down a bit.
If you can remove one track from the calendar, what would it be? And what would it replace it with?
Oh, God.
Or would you keep it the same?
There's a couple of tracks I don't like on the calendar. I've never been a fan of Sepang. I think it's too big, to be honest. Trying to think, anyone else that really stands out to me as a track I don't like.
Well, the track you're doing right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Misano fan, but it does produce good races, so I'd keep it. And you know what? It's a good Italian round, and it's kind of I would feel bad removing it because of Marco, So, I'd be more likely to keep it than anything else. Valencia I've never been a big fan of, believe it or not.
But Valencia's a very good finale.
That's the only reason people like Valencia.
It's produced really good finale, so...
Any race can produce a really good finale, because everybody will go for it in the last round. Like, it's not exciting because it's Valencia, it's exciting because it's the season finale.
But it's produced great races, and almost every time we've been there.
But I think that's more down to the fact that it's the last race of the season as opposed to... Because, you're automatically more excited for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the problem when it comes to that. Jan, you have to scroll down again on that one. Sorry, I know. Like if it was normally my laptop I'd be using that and reading off that screen instead. But Sky Broadband's internet is literally dog shit. So.
You actually didn't even really answer the question.
Would I replace it? What would I replace it with? I would like to replace. I would say. Get rid of Valencia, have Imola as a season finale?
No.
I love Imola. Always have.
I'll talk about F1, talking about MotoGP.
Both. Imola's on the World Superbike calendar. People forget that.
I would do the same, but I would probably put in Manico.
Manico's a good track. That's on the WSB calendar as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manico's a good bike track.
because Dorna wants more French.
That's a very good point. I didn't have 2 French rounds because they've already got Le Mans, obviously.
Yeah, but yeah, is it a good step for MotoGP in 2016 for all teams to have the same electronics?
The electronics discussion, yes, because in case you guys didn't know already, the teams will be running standardized ECUs next year. Everybody will be on the same electronic package. I think it's a great move, to be honest. I mean, ultimately, you want a more competitive sport because you want that air of unpredictability because we all know the factory Honda and Yamaha teams have dominated MotoGP since Casey Stoner had that one title win in 2007. So,
Here's the thing, right? I think this is the best thing to have in the MotoGP since the privateer rule. The privateer rule...
The CRT rule,
it's
yeah.
The CRT rule, yeah. Sorry about that, I got it wrong a little bit. But what this rule did... What the privateer rule did was save MotoGP from obscurity.
It did, because the entry lists were getting smaller by the year. I think by the time we got to 2010, there was like 16, 17 bikes on the grid. It was terrible. Kawasaki had left, Suzuki had left, and the sport looked like it was on the brink of dying.
The privateer rule filled out the grid, and it provided a lot of excitement on the lower field. The electronics rule will take MotoGP to the next level and extra layer of unpredictability.
Not to mention, Dorna are flipping the bill for all this. They're paying for it because they want to see a more competitive sport. So, obviously that rule is going to be gone next year because the factories have now got a responsibility to sell satellite bikes to other privateer teams at a reduced price because Dorna will fill in the price for the rest. So it's a fantastic move. I'm really excited for it because you can see more Suzukis, more Aprilias, because Aprilia's obviously coming in. They've got their new prototype coming next year. KTM are coming in 2017, and I'm excited to see what they do with a big bike because obviously they have such a strong prominence in Moto 3 at the moment, but I'd love to see what they do with a bit more power to play with. That should be fun. So that, standardized electronics, more competitive field, what's not to like? And obviously security as well, because the teams are going to make sure we have a healthier sport, which is the ultimate priority. Dorna gets it. They really do. Dorna and the FIM, they get how to make the sport better. F1 strategy group, take some friggin' notes, please. Like, seriously.
Another question here.
Yep, sure.
What would be your dream World Superbikes team? And what would be your dream MotoGP team?
Ooh, dream teams. Okay, I'm a bit of a sucker for saying this because I know Daikar Aubrey in the comments was talking about Matt Millad in there, and I never saw him in AMA, so I can't comment on that. But for me, dream WSB team from the guys I grew up watching, Carl Fogarty. Just a given, really. 4-time champion. Over 60 wins in World Superbikes, and one of my first real sporting heroes I grew up watching. So, Carl Fogarty would be one. Now, here's the interesting one. Do you go Colin Edwards? Do you go Noriyuki Haga for the second rider? Do you go maybe someone more recent like Tom Sykes, who is a 3-time champion as well? Maybe the field's not quite as strong, so I'll probably rule out Sykes in that regard. Colin Edwards, man. I grew up watching Colin Edwards. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like when you're talking about hot women, you take the franchise quarterback, you take Halle Berry because she's still fucking amazing and she's like 50. Don't look at me like that. You still would.
No, I wouldn't.
Bullshit. I don't believe you for a second.
She's like 3 times my age.
So, she's still hot, and you know it too.
Oh, God.
Don't even try and act like you've knocked that back.
Fine, what's your dream MotoGP team?
Dream MotoGP team. Again, I'm only going from the guys I've watched, because I've been watching since about 2000, 99, 2000 or so. Because, you know what? Let's not overthink this.
It's Rossi Marquez.
Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. Let's be real here, because I think they are. You know what? I would love Casey, but Casey is a douche, and I wouldn't actually like to have him on a team because he's kind of a dick, to be honest. Valentino Rossi, is the best thing to ever happen to MotoGP.
All right, answer this question then, right?
Go on.
Who win over a season? Marquez, Rossi, or Stoner and Lorenzo?
Good question. If Rossi wouldn't win, I think Marquez would half the time. If you get Marquez a decent bike, he will win. Bit of a tense finale here as well, actually. We kind of glossed over that. This has been a very close race pretty much all the way through. I've just got to hang on to this, really. But let's be real here. Valentino Rossi is the greatest guy to ever get on a bike, in my opinion. Not only for his success, his 9 world titles, obviously, he's over 100 wins, but just the prominence and what he's done for the sport. He's our Roger Federer. He's our Tiger Woods. He is the guy that transcends MotoGP in terms of popularity, in terms of, star power, in terms of people that they get respect as athletes. Valentino Rossi is a guy that everybody knows, everybody loves. I remember there was an amazing montage BBC did where they talk about, they show all these amazing athletes, and they're all talking about Valentino. Like Roger Federer's talking about him, and Lewis Hamilton's talking about him, and it was a really, like, Usain Bolt's talking about him. It was really cool.
I just got one problem.
What's that?
It's not gonna beat him.
Yeah, one time in 2007, and that 2007, that Ducati was broken, and we all know it. That Ducati was like 10 mile an hour faster than any other bike.
Well, it's been like that for the past how many years, but
not anymore, because the other guys closed the gap. They really did, because that's how Rossi went in 08.
I just have this feeling of, sure, you can go Rossi, but at the same time,
don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing what Casey did. His achievements on a Ducati was ridiculous. it was broken what Casey did on the Ducati, because Ducati was still shit back then.
Yeah.
So, and again, the Yamaha bounced back a year later, and then they won the next 2. So, it's a situation where, was it 2? It was 3, actually, wasn't it? Rossi 08, Rossi 09, Lorenzo 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they won the next 3. The Honda didn't win another title till Casey came along again in 2011 and won for Honda. So for me, it's Valentino Rossi, and why not have the greatest natural talent the sport's had since Valentino, and that's Marc Marquez.
What bike?
Honda. Rossi can ride anything. Won titles on both. I know he wasn't quite as good on a Honda as he was on a Yamaha.
The great bikes.
It's amazing because Rossi's won, I think, what was it, 5 of his 7 top tier titles on a Yamaha?
I think 6.
6?
I think 6 of them, because he won one.
The Honda wasn't the Honda won 2000 and.
Oh.
I know he's won all of them on a Yamaha, hasn't he?
No, he won one with a Honda. I'm pretty sure he won one with a Honda.
I'll have to look this up, or either that or I'll add it as an annotation somewhere in this video down the road after I edit it. But why not have the greatest talent since Marquez, since Rossi and Marquez as well? I know he's kind of unproven in terms of, riding another bike, but I don't see any reason why he couldn't succeed on a Yamaha.
There's no more questions left, by the way.
That the last? No, there's more. Hang on.
Come on.
I'm scrolling down. But yeah, just put it on a Honda. You favour Marquez, and Rossi can ride it anyway because he's Rossi.
Favour to the best guy. Shots fired.
Give it to the best guy who's 0-2 against Marquez in title seasons so far.
Oh, here we go.
It's true. I'm just stating the facts.
Who won the dog fights?
That's Marquez more than Rossi,
no,
and you know it.
No.
In this era, Marquez has been a better rider than Rossi.
Alright.
In this era.
I will yield for
since Marquez rolled up. But then again, I'd also argue the Honda's been a slightly better bike until this season. So maybe you got that going for you in that regard. As we head to Aragon for this, and a test coming up as well, so it's going to be a slightly longer video than normal.
Testing!
Yeah!
Always fun.
Woo!
It's fun stuff.
Let's have a look here. Aaron Ahern asks, do you think Marquez stands a chance of winning the title, and who do you think is going to win it? Now, for those that are slow on the maths, Marquez is 65 points behind Valentino Rossi, who's championship leader right now with 9 rounds to go. We talked about this last week, actually, and we've said it's probably not going to be enough. I mean, we all know that if Marquez is on it, he will probably win over a season. But I think he'll take some more points out of that gap. But I don't think it'll be enough to win the title.
He's got to pay for a retirement.
That's the problem. That's the big problem. Because you know what? The Yamahas, both their riders are ultra consistent. That's the problem. Lorenzo doesn't have falls very often. Rossi almost never drops off the bike.
We're looking at the best Rossi we've seen in the past I would say 5-10 years.
It's a miracle he's in this champion and has led from he's led from the very start this season.
Like, Rossi at his best wasn't doing stuff he's doing right now. He's legit winning in one of the most competitive seasons, if not the most competitive season of all time.
Ironically, Aragon was the last time he wasn't on a podium. Last season. Oh. That's not, just to put this into perspective as to just how good he's been. He's on a 13 race podium streak right now. He's not been off the podium since this Grand Prix last season, where he went on the AstroTurf and had an almighty concussion, which wasn't ideal, but he was okay, luckily. So yeah, I mean, Marquez, I still think, will probably do what Lorenzo did last year, win the second half of the season. Because that's what Lorenzo did last year. He outpointed, I think, Marquez by about 20 in the end.
My personal belief is that I think Marquez and Lorenzo will just take points off each other and then realise that Rossi's always...
Marquez will play a role in where this title ends up going.
I said that from the beginning.
He's going to be the great X factor now, because Marquez, at his best, can win any given race.
Oh, yeah.
That's not an argument. I mean, won 13 races last year.
Even Pedrosa can have a factor in this.
Absolutely, because Pedrosa on a good day can get in there too. We've seen it happen last year too. He won at Brno after all, and that was an amazing performance from Pedrosa to win. Oh God!
I think the biggest concern might be the Ducatis near the end of the year.
They'll keep developing.
Because they'll keep on getting better and better, and to the point where you have to realise that, alright then, they're actually going to threat for every single race.
There's a Misano test happening right now as we speak. It's the last day of the Misano test as we record this.
Yeah.
And Ducati have been very public about talking about their bike so far. They said themselves, we had too good a start. I think we had too good a start, and then I think people gave us unfair expectations afterwards.
I always said from the beginning, I don't like how Ducati have run an open class. I think it's kind of cheating.
A little bit.
It's like you're.
Honda was pissed off when they announced that last year.
Because I was like, I'm just thinking, you're a massive factory team.
You don't need to run as an open class runner.
You legit produce bikes in real life as well on a massive mainstream level, and you need to be open class.
But they need to be open class because they're not very good right now. That's the problem. Because you know what, and the plus side, Vasquez down, shit. But the thing about that is, the whole point of the concession was to make them catch up. If they're competitive and they start winning, they'll be a factor like everybody else. They have to win 3 races, though. That's the problem. That's the concession. That's the last concession they've got, and that's their right to run softer compounds. They have to win 3 races to lose that in the dry.
What about development?
Development, they can still develop their engines until that point as well. The only thing they lost by having 3 dry podiums was running 22 litres of fuel instead of 21. Which Ducati said didn't really bother them anyway, because they've been running like they had 22 litres in the first place.
Oh.
So, that's really a thing. But what was even the question now? But
the question was, I think, Marquez winning.
Oh yeah, Marquez winning the title. Don't see it. Where does it go? That's a good question, because Lorenzo will step it up for the second half of the year. I have no doubt in that. And, it's been so close so far. And, Rossi played the smart call in the Saxon ring. He could have gone after Pedrosa, but he felt the extra 4 points wasn't worth it. As long as he beat Jorge, that's what mattered, and that's what he did.
Because he knows he can finish third for the rest of the year. And still probably win the title if Lorenzo's behind him.
That's what he's got to do.
Just stay ahead of Lorenzo.
Be top Yamaha. Just stay ahead of Lorenzo. That's the problem, because doing that isn't exactly straightforward. In that regard, and where does it go? If I had to say right now, I'm still saying Lorenzo for the time being.
You don't believe?
I don't believe in Rossi.
Why don't you believe Andre?
I don't believe in Rossi because I think Lorenzo is the better guy over a year right now. And you know what? People will sleep on this. Lorenzo's still got 2 more home rounds to go.
It's only home.
It's only home. But like I said, Marquez will be the kicker in all this. And that's going to make it a lot more interesting. And I think, run up my phone one more time. I think there's one more question in there at the bottom. I think it's about the broadcasting, if I'm not mistaken. Just scroll down.
Yeah. What do you think of how MotoGP is broadcast?
Who asked that, sorry?
Tyler.
Oh, hi, Tyler. That's a good question. BT Sport. I don't want to say too many bad things about BT Sport right now because I just signed up for a job with them. I just applied for one.
Okay, it's passing me then. BT Sport.
I'll be honest. Okay, no, I'll be honest. I always am with you guys. I believe in that. I believe in full disclosure. Overall, there's more to like than dislike. For me, like, it's a shame it's on a pay TV channel because the viewership's like 5 times worse than what it was when it was on the BBC, which is a shame because more than 1 million people were watching MotoGP when it was on the BBC, and now it's only about 200,000 now, but it's with BT Sport, which is a shame, a real shame, because, you know, so many people are missing out on what is a tremendous sport. Their production is very good. You know, they have every session, which is fantastic. You know, that's something the BBC never did, and, you know, that already is probably worth the price of BT Sport as it is. If you're a hardcore fan, you get everything, and that's a plus in the first place. Their presenters, I think Craig Doyle is good. I like Craig Doyle. They popped him over from the rugby because Doyle's a proper bike nut, yes. and you know what, you can tell he's a proper knowledgeable bike fan, and that's always a plus. Toseland is great. I love James Toseland. I think he's a great pundit.
Despite has the whole Gareth Bale look going.
He's got the greasy, he's got the greasy Gareth Bale look going for him. But
this needs to stop.
I know.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah, it's a pandemic.
Every person now, ever since Gareth Bale's had this whole sweaty, greasy Spaniard look, everyone's trying to replicate it. It needs to stop. That and a ponytail.
All right, relax. But Toseland's. I've met James Toseland. He's a really, really nice guy. He's a great pundit. Very humble as well. He's the kind of guy you can take the piss out of, and he'd probably be all right with it. So yeah, I like James Toseland a lot. Then it goes a bit downhill from there. Like
commentators.
Hewan Hewan used to be the man as a commentator. He used to commentate on IndyCar. He's a great IndyCar commentator. He was a great World Superbikes commentator.
Triple threat.
Back in the 90s. He was excellent as a commentator. Now I think as an old man, I think he's kind of lost his way a little bit. He's right up Danny Kent's rear every time there's a Moto3 race to commentate on. He often gets his facts wrong. Like he was terrible when it came to Ana Carrasco. Like I don't know if you mentioned it. I don't know if I mentioned this before, Ryan, but he got his numbers on Ana Carrasco completely wrong. He claimed that Ana Carrasco had never ridden a Moto3 race before, or never scored points in Moto3. But there's a 125 rider. Carrasco's like 17. Like, come on.
Why?
Yeah, and Julian Ryder, as a result, kind of suffers because he's not as good when he's not with Toby Moody. Now, anyone that watched MotoGP when it was on Eurosport, that was the dream team of commentators. You had Toby Moody, Julian Ryder, Neil Spolders, who was the more technical guy. In the past, you had Randy Mamola in the pit lane too, and Randy was great. So, if anyone's ever remember those Eurosport days, Moody and Ryder was the best commentary team in all of sport, in my opinion.
Yes.
Those two were amazing, and I was so upset when I found out BT Sport were not going to bring over Toby Moody, but they kept Julian Ryder. It's like, why?
You can't.
Why split up the best commentary team in all of motorsport? I thought,
like, if you're gonna take over one commentator, why separate them? Why does it take both of them?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's because Moody wanted to try other things. I don't think it was totally BT's fault. I think he wanted to do things like the BTCC, which he did for ITV4.
That's like hiring the Hudson brothers from tennis and then separating them.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're going to take the Bryan brothers, but we're going to split them.
Like, why? There's no need. Let's take them both. Ugh.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And I don't think that's totally BT's fault. A part of me thinks that Moody may have had something to do with that in terms of wanting to do other things like Goodwood, like the BTCC, like the X Games as well, which you might see if anyone of our viewers are American, you may see him commentate on Nixon. I think he does the World Rally Cross over there as well. So, you know, I don't think it's totally down on BT, but that was a bummer. Abby Griffiths isn't great as a host. I don't think she knows what she's doing half the time, to be honest. And Ewan Thomas, thing is, I've met Ewan Thomas as well. Again, very funny guy. He's a very, very funny guy.
Oh,
but he looks like a mess out there half the time.
I just think he's lost. I think he's just a lost puppy.
He's like the lost puppy of BT Sports coverage.
Like, we can't let him go. But we'll keep him. We'll give him a mic and let him do.
He's got his own show now because they got rid of MotoGP Tonight, which is a damn shame because that was an excellent review show on BT Sport, and instead they now have their 1 hour wrap-up show after a race weekend called MotoGP Checkered Flag, which you may have seen on BT Sport.
Translation, trying to copy F1.
Yeah, they're trying to copy the F1 show by having their own review program, basically, straight after a race, and it's an hour of post-race coverage. And don't get me wrong, it's actually not that bad a show, and you do get some good behind-the-scenes stuff behind there, but Thomas is not a great host.
I'm sorry, I can only handle British bias for so long.
I know, you're allergic to the stuff.
I am sick of it.
I don't mind it so much, but even I get annoyed by Keith Ewan constantly rimming Danny Kent. Even though, to be fair, Kent will not get the coverage he deserves any other way, because Kent is having an all-time great Moto3 season, and he's getting like next to no mainstream press for it whatsoever.
Well, what are you planning to do? It's still Moto3.
Bradley Smith got more attention than him, and he was on midfield teams the whole way through. He climbed up the ladder. Think about it here.
Well, he was the guy that signed the Tech 3 deal at 125.
But we're talking about a guy. We're gonna have a British world champion. That's unheard of. That's the problem. Like, he's never going to get the credit he deserves, and that's painful to me. I'm just saying, like, Danny Kent deserves more mainstream press for what he's doing right now, because what we're seeing right now is unprecedented.
Well, what do you say? Like, figure the headline. Like, great rider wins the 3rd tier series in MotoGP.
Don't get me wrong. There's a lack of MotoGP press coverage in the United Kingdom, period, quite frankly, when it comes to the mainstream, because F1 dominates the headlines of Lewis Hamilton. And, you know, F1 is more popular, so I totally understand that.
All I'm saying,
but we got to start somewhere, right? You know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is, right, I understand where you're coming from, but it's just not going to take headlines. It's still a 3rd tier series. I
know. But on the whole, I like their coverage. It's pretty good. Some things about it annoy me, but there's still more bad than good. And the fact is that getting every session is a big deal, especially now that free practice, because of the rules, is much more relevant now. Because of the nature of qualified in MotoGP, and, you know, like, I didn't mention, I didn't talk about the other guys. Gavin Emmett is there. Gavin Emmett is great interviewer, great pundit, very nice guy. And then Hodgson, Hodgson's a nutter. He takes his shirt off everywhere. But you know, Hodgson's a funny guy. I like Hodgson.
He scares me. I feel like one needs just to go rogue and just...
He's sucking in his gut in those photos. Don't worry about that.
I was supposed to just go rogue at one point and just destroy everything.
It's I haven't even looked at the championship lately, actually.
Oh, Rossi took the championship by nothing.
Rossi dead level with Marquez at 290. Wow.
Are we seeing the future?
No. We're about 10 points up on Sam Lowe's in Moto 2.
Even this game has bias to the Brits.
Oh, come off it. Leave Sam Lowe's alone. He's having a great time out there. Yeah, so they're in 9 points behind Quartararo and 15 behind Oliveira. Okay, we've got a little bit of work to do in that regard. But we've got
some testing!
More testing!
Testing!
Yeah! So we've only got another 2 episodes in this before we finish the first season, actually, after this one. But yeah, we've got an Aragon test and then we'll wrap it up for this episode. But yeah, I like Hodgson, actually, to be fair. Like, Hodgson's quite funny. He's a he's a surprisingly good commentator. Very banterous. And, oh, by the way, the best thing they ever did was bringing in Colin Edwards. Edwards is great.
Because he evens out the playing field.
In terms of what?
In a sense
of... What are we evening out here?
Because it used to be the whole idea of, oh, Dan Kent's amazing. It's like, oh, I know, right? Dan Kent's amazing. I know, right? Now Colin's going to talk about everyone else.
You're terrible.
Well, I'm not terrible. I speak the truth.
You're terrible.
I'm the voice of the people.
Yeah, the people of Ryan Harrison's head and the voices inside of it.
I have a cult of 10 people that like me on this show.
Your cult of 10.
Well, it's a strong cult.
Can't be any worse than CM Punk's faction.
Oh god.
The Straight Edge Society.
It's straight edge, but not really straight edge. But it's a cool catchphrase, so I'll stick with it.
Ooh, ouch.
What?
It's not a buzz term, it's a way of life!
Sorry, man.
I'm joking, but yeah, like, overall, like I said, I like BT Sports coverage. on the whole, there's a lot to like. There's more to like than there is to dislike. Let's put it that way. And I'd rather give me a BT Sport weekend over a F1 weekend on Sky every time, quite frankly, because at least that way they're not quite as biased as Sky. And you know what? I like
BT. No, here's the thing: BT will accept that they're biased and roll with it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Like, I'd rather they be honest with me, because you know what? Let's be real here. Every time there's a race, they review the Brits afterwards, like John McPhee, for example.
Like the moment when Sky talked about Roscoe Hamilton's dog, I was like, you know what? It's over. Because like that's the moment when you really realised we've jumped the shark.
Everybody knows that Sky are biased as fuck towards Hamilton on their F1 coverage.
You must get Roscoe a partner.
Yeah, like like before the season started, they were making advertisements talking about finding Roscoe a partner.
Why?
Like, you can't be serious. Like, I know an F1 off-season is long and tedious, and I know testing is boring as hell, but seriously.
You have nothing else to talk about except for Hamilton's dog?
Yeah.
What's up there? Let's promote his mixtape.
Like, let's be real. BT Sport is similar to the BBC in that regard, where you know they're kind of biased, really, even though they claim they're not.
But BT admit it.
BT are okay with that. Like, BT are just unashamedly biased. And that's what I like about them.
Yeah.
I like their honesty.
Be honest with it.
Sky would deny it straight away. But like I said, I know people that have talked to Natalie Pinkham before who and she gets fed all her lines by her producers. Her favourite driver, ironically, is Nico Rosberg. I've got to shout out to Mr. Danger Days on that one, because I know for a fact that he's been to the F1 show tapings before in Brentford, just down the road from where we live, actually.
No standards these days.
And like, she interviewed Pinkham, and like, she said that pretty much.
No standards. Rosberg.
This one's gonna be not quite so easy a goal to try and beat as Ryan's WhatsApp goes up.
I'm popular.
Bay trying to slide into her DMs like.
I have a strong cult following, Andre. I told you this before. The cult of Harrison Jr.
You know what you are? You're Bakura from Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series.
So I can't.
So
I'm important later on.
Tell my fangirls I love them.
I have fangirls. Awesome. Hit me up.
Hit him up on Twitter. RJH_46 on Twitter, by the way, in case you want to follow him.
Same on Instagram.
Instagram's the same, apparently.
I send nudes.
He does send nudes. This is true.
All the nudes.
I can confirm. That moment when Ryan gets more women than you. It's painful. Yeah, the struggle is real.
The struggle is not real. I'm not Steve Davis.
What's that got to do with it?
Remember that charity episode?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Inside joke.
Inside joke. If anyone's ever seen that video, Steve Davis versus Dennis Taylor, the rematch. If you're a snooker fan, even if you're not a snooker fan, go watch it. It's hilarious. The amount of references they go back to their original match in '85 is brilliant.
I'm not even a snooker fan.
But it's brilliant. The amount of references that are in there, it's funny as hell. It really is. Like, we're talking about snooker now in a MotoGP video.
Well, there's nothing else better to talk about.
We need you on here more often, clearly.
Yeah.
More random, obscure topics. So if you've got a question you want to ask Ryan as well as me for future episodes, feel free. We'll get them back if you want to see more.
It's like, how did you get the amazing shining glow on your face, Ryan?
They can't see you,
Maybe
bruh.
it's Maybelline.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
My hair's amazing.
I'm struggling here. I'm not going to beat this 159 free. You know that, right?
Come on, it's not that hard.
I'll give it one more crack, and if I can't get it, I'll just take the 2 packs and get on with it.
I'll do it.
What's that? We're already at 39 minutes on this video.
This is great banter. Because I've mentioned 2 episodes. Shouldn't you edit that out? They'll never know.
They'll never know in the editing booth afterwards when we cut this shit out.
They'll never know.
No one will ever know. We could do that.
Don't tell them.
But then, I think the thing is, the fans, I've asked about this before, those guys are okay with longer videos, so I don't mind doing them.
Andre's cut it in half, though. Seriously.
Shut up.
They'll never know. It could be the greatest secret of all secrets.
Shut up. Check back tomorrow, by the way. More F1 2015 championship season mode with Sebastian Vettel. We go to China.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I said this on Twitter yesterday. It's like, somehow they managed to find a way to make China bearable. I know I've been kind of harsh on F1 2015, but that kind of deserves a half point in its own right, really.
Like, that'd be the
They made China fun. That's a miracle.
That's probably gonna be the title for the video. China 2015 is now bearable.
China is fun now. It rains a lot there as well, actually. So you know.
Oh, yeah, have you seen the clouds?
You get more change. It's Shanghai. It's fucking polluted to shit. So you know.
Hey, don't insult our Asian viewers.
It's true.
You never know.
Have you ever seen like the sun out with no clouds in Shanghai?
I don't know. I don't go there, do I?
Have you ever seen a Chinese Grand Prix where it's like blue skies everywhere? Oh, and I did do it. There you go. That clutch last lap, though.
Because we were barely talking.
Watch the wire. There you go. See? I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Okay, just to remind them one more time where they can find you.
You can follow me on Twitter at RJH_46.
I wonder who he's a fan of. The clue's in the number. Just thought I'd give you a heads up on that.
It's my fault that I'm support Valentino Rossi, man.
It was your dad's fault. That's the problem.
What's wrong with that?
I grew up in... I was a Gibbernow fan and a Kenny Roberts fan in a house of Rossi nuts.
Well, what's wrong with you?
What? I wasn't all over Rossi's nuts as a child? Sorry.
Something must be wrong with you if you support Izette Gibbernow.
What? I liked Gibbernow and I loved his bike.
You loved his bike, not him.
Gibbernow was a good guy.
No, he wasn't. He was a dick.
He was
a complaining scumbag.
Says the Rossi fan that rode him off the road on numerous occasions.
That's what you do to win
The same shit we used to bury riders now. Rossi was given a free pass for. Like, all the Rossi fans on the internet crying over that incident, yet realising the hypocrisy of it all, knowing that Rossi had done it to other riders on many occasions.
Well, Gibbernow deserved it.
Yeah, well, Rossi won that race, but I still got Laguna Seca 2014, because, you know, it was nice to see Rossi get a taste of his own medicine for once. Anyway, that's the end of the video. We've been going for over 42 minutes. I'm having the last word here, I don't care what anyone tells me.
Rossi's the best! No! Don't hit me.
Shut up. Okay, I've been Harrison, he's been Ryan. Hopefully we'll bring him back on for more episodes if he's not going to be such a pain in the arse. Until next time, I've been Harrison, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.
It's time mixtape.